Okay, Beginner's Guide to Combat. Let's start with the absolute basics. So your ships in Stellaris have three main stats that govern their health. Uh, there are shields, which is this blue bar up at the top, armor, which is this orange bar right underneath it, and hull, which is the green bar down at the bottom. All right. So your ships take damage in that order. First, all incoming damage is dealt to the shields. Once the shields are gone, all the incoming damage is dealt to the armor. Once the armor is gone, all incoming damage is dealt to the hull. Once the hull is destroyed, the ship is destroyed. Okay, so let's have a demo of that real quick.
Station under attack. Zero-G mineral production violently diminished.
So we have sort of a target dummy fleet right here. And as you can see, it kind of looks as if the fleet is taking some damage to its armor before the before the shield is fully destroyed. That is actually not the case. So this bar here represents the total shields of your entire fleet. But each ship individually has its own sort of stats. So if we look in here, there are actually some ships which have had their shields, which is this blue circle around here, completely destroyed. Then you can see it turns into an orange circle, which represents the armor, and underneath that is green for the hull. So as you can see, some of these ships are getting destroyed. Shield first, then armor, then hull. Okay. Once one of your ships has its hull reduced to 0, it dies. And that happens regardless of whether the ship still has shields and armor left or not. So there are some weapons that will bypass, called shield penetration or armor penetration, which will completely ignore these, deal damage straight to the hull, and kill the ship without even having to deal with the shields and armor. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of those. So this is a weapon called Disruptors. As you can see, 100% shield penetration and 100% armor penetration. And this is going to go ahead and destroy these ships just the same.
Attacking enemy vessels.
Alright, and so if we look at these ships, as we can see, they all still have their blue circles, and you can hover over each individual one and see that their armor and shields are still maxed out, and yet they're getting destroyed, right? Absolutely no damage taken to shields and armor, but their hulls are getting destroyed. Okay, cool. So now that you know how ship stats work, let's take a look into the ship designer over here at the side, fleet management, ship designer. Okay, so let's see, this will be a good example. So down here at the bottom are the shield and armor slots. You can click into one of these slots to open up a menu on the left side, which shows you the components that you have available to put into these slots. You can unlock more powerful shields and armor to put in here through research. Placing shield components in here, so if we get some of these, will increase the shields of your ship, while placing armor components in here will obviously increase the armor of your ship. There's almost no way to increase the hull value of your ship, so you're going to have to rely on shields and armor to protect you. Okay. In general, placing an even mix of shields and armor is great, and you should definitely try to research shield and armor techs when possible. Okay, next up we have the ship's weapon systems. So you can click on a slot up here to show you the available weapons for that slot type. So as you can see, we have these blue G slots, we have orange S slots, we have red P, yellow H, and there's M, and there's also L slots for large. So this is kind of a lot to go through, but let's see. In general, the most important thing is to stay consistent as far as whether your weapons have shield and armor penetration. So let's see, what's the easiest way to explain this? Let's walk through the basic strategies for each of the weapon types. It's not super important to know the differences between each of these slots, you'll sort of get the hang of it as we go. Okay, so strategy one is to take high damage laser and kinetic weapons, blast away the enemy shields, then blast away the enemy armor, then blast away the exposed hull. Okay? Um, Kinetic and energy weapons have damage bonuses towards actually destroying the shields and armor. So if we look at a Gauss cannon, which is a kinetic weapon, you can see type kinetic right there. It has a 50% shield damage bonus. Lasers have a 50% armor damage bonus. Okay. And all you really need to do to play this strategy is place an even number of kinetic and energy weapons into these slots. Uh, and yeah, so let's go ahead and test this build against a auto-generated design. So this is what the AI came up with. This is what you'll be getting if you just let the AI pick for you. And let's see if using a dedicated build is any better.
Vessels destroyed. Attacking enemy
Okay,
vessels.
so we jump straight in here. As we can see, our sort of dedicated build here on the right is absolutely shredding the shields of the AI build, while taking almost no damage ourselves. And this is completely devastating. That's one enemy ship down, two, and it's not even close. Speed that up. But as you can see, we lost 2 ships and got rid of all 10 of their ships. So the second strategy is going to be to use missiles. Missiles and weapons that have 100% shield penetration. So these are going to do damage to the enemy armor, completely ignoring the shields, and then deal damage to the hull, destroying the ship. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at a build for one of these. Here are the demo ships we're going to be using, and as you can see, all the weapons on here have 100% shield penetration. And it's important that all of the weapons do. That's how you build a consistent strategy around this. If we take a look back at that cruiser build from before, you're going to see that this is actually a list of all the weapons that have 100% shield penetration. So torpedoes, missiles, strike craft, and swarmer missiles, right? So you can, any combination of these is going to do really well together. And let's go ahead and do a demo of that. This is against the same AI generated ship design. And it's absolutely shredding them. As you can see, we're ignoring their shields, and we are going straight in for the armor here, and completely taking them out. This build did even better than the last one. And it looks like we took out their fleet without losing a single ship. Pretty crazy. Okay, and so what you might be thinking is, well, what if we mix some different strategies together? You know, maybe we could mix missiles to take out the armor with kinetic weapons to take out the shields at the same time. And then sort of those will both reach the end, and then we can destroy the hull. So what about that? It seems like it might work, but that just isn't really the case. Since missiles are balanced to deal less damage in exchange for their shield piercing ability, you'd sort of be splitting the focus between these two, and you'd end up with a pretty mediocre build right from the start. But it gets worse than that. Because if we go ahead and take a look back here, right here. So missiles don't have any damage bonus against armor, and kinetic weapons deal half damage against armor. And so what if the enemy was a player or maybe an AI who focused a little bit more on armor? A lot of space monsters or some of the crises will have a heavy, heavy focus on armor. So what if we went against some sort of all armor build? How would that fare? Well, let's take a look here. This is a demonstration of just any sort of mixed strategy. This is the kind of thing you're going to start to see. So on the left here, we have an all armor enemy build. And on the right, we have our sort of mixed penetration and destruction strategy.
Attacking enemy
And it
assets.
looks kind of close at first, but it's not. And as you can see, we're going to start losing ships here and dead. Didn't even destroy a single enemy ship because our focus was split in between that sort of armor destruction, shield penetration strategy, uh, and the other one, which didn't give us any bonus against the enemy's stacked armor. And so we got absolutely wrecked. And that is what's going to happen if you use any sort of mixed build, right? That is using some penetration weapons and some non-penetration weapons. Okay, so final strategy, much simpler than the others. Um, there are a few weapons out there that penetrate both shields and armor. These have very low damage in exchange, and as a result, you absolutely do not want to mix them with anything else. Pretty much the only weapon in this category that matters is disruptors. So this is going to ignore shields and armor, go straight through to the enemy hull, and destroy it. Okay, so let's see a demo of this. Okay, and another thing. So each of these tests has been using 10 destroyers with each build. On the left, we have the AI build. And a lot of the other ones you would see that are custom build had more fleet power, according to the game systems. This disruptor build has less. And this is going to show you that fleet power does not matter. So we
Attacking
have
enemy vessels.
4.5k for the AI build, 4k for our build, and absolutely deleted. The AI did not even get close to destroying one of our ships. Completely wrecked. Okay, so any build or any component that has 100% shield penetration and 100% armor penetration will work with this build. Okay, so uh, you know, when you see a new technology pop up in your screen, how do you know which build it goes with? So it's pretty simple, right? When you see these texts pop up, let's see here. Come on, show me the thing. Okay, here it is. So the text will have this little hexagon icon right here. If you hover over that, it'll show you the stats of the weapon that it'll unlock for you, right? So here we can see mass drivers don't have any sort of penetration, right? So that'll go with the regular laser and kinetic weapon build. If we look at missiles, they have 100% shield penetration, right? So any sort of thing that has 100% shield penetration goes with the missile build. And then if we can find disruptors, which might be a little bit difficult. Uh, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. But you'll be able to hover over there and see that they have 100% of both. Okay, and so let's quickly walk through the rest of the ship designer. Let's see. So, right. So we know about uh, shields and armor. We know about weapons. What's this stuff on the right? So here you have your reactor. So this increases the amount of power available to your ship. Like stronger weapons, shields consume more power. So you can see the powers here on the right. We have plus 547. If we start putting a bunch of shields in, that's going to go down quickly. Now we're at negative 83. If you have a negative amount of power in your build, it is an invalid build design and you won't be able to save it. As you can see, the save button is grayed out. You can get more power for your ship by researching more powerful reactors or by adding reactor boosters into these green A slots, right? So if we put a couple of reactor boosters in here, suddenly we have enough power, we can save the ship. Okay, cool. So next up is hyperdrive, right here. This is not important for combat for the most part, and at a base level, it just allows you to navigate the star map faster. Next is thrusters. Thrusters give you evasion chance and extra ship movement speed. This is absolutely super important for some more advanced build crafting stuff for these ships. But at base level, faster is better, and it helps you get around the star map faster as well. Okay, next up is sensors. These let you detect enemy ships from farther away with your fleet, and they also give you additional tracking, which is helpful for shooting at smaller enemy vessels, things like corvettes. Next, we have combat computers. There's a ton to go into with these, and this is some like advanced build stuff that I may make another video on. Okay, and so now give your ship a name you'll remember and save it. Now, if the save button is grayed out, there's a few things you need to check. First of all, make sure your ship has enough power. Second, make sure that auto generate designs is unchecked in the bottom left here, and you may need to turn off auto upgrade as well sometimes, right? So make sure this is unchecked as well. Uh, in general, it's good to leave this on so you don't have to think about your ship designs too much. Then click save, and you can go over to your starbase and find your ship name. Here we got the Bungus class cruiser, and you can just click this and start making your ships. So I think that's pretty much it. Congratulations, you now know the basics of ship design.